Welcome to the Rockhound Podcast. This week we have Taylor with Agate Dad here on YouTube. He's our guest, so go take it away, Taylor.
Yeah, I'm Taylor, and I'm from Minnesota, and my channel is called Agate Dad.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, Taylor. And I'd like to just take a moment to thank all of you out there that are new. Thank you, Jesse, for a huge of rock, the rookie Rockhound, for the big shout out. And we've got a lot of new people on board with us tonight. So thank you so much for coming. I'm Karen Britt and of the Ozone Fine Art Ventures. And on to you, Kurt.
And my name is Kurt Westerman with Rockhounding.Adventures out in Western Colorado. Kyle?
And I am Kyle with World of Rockhounds. So, that does it for the intros. Let's go ahead and go off with everyone's week. How was everyone's week? Let's start with Taylor.
It was pretty good. Had a lot of travels for work and was able to do a little poking around, found a couple nice agates.
Nice.
All right. Well, it was an amazing week. We're supposed to get sanded over on the beaches, and that just really hasn't happened quite yet. And so it's been a longer season than we expected. I snuck down to the beach and found some pretty cool stuff, and didn't kill any agates or opals again this week. So I consider that a small victory in and of itself. And on to you, Kurt. What about you?
Well, I got out on a nice hike earlier, I want to say on Tuesday, and ended up running into some weather, and that made a extra awesome adventure, and found some nice specimens of mica and black tourmaline. So that will you'll see that video this coming Monday, and pretty much that's everything that I've been pretty much working on, just working on that video right now and so forth. So what about you, Kyle?
I actually fell short on one of my goals. I did not finish the obsidian order that I was working on last week, because my goal was to have it done by last Wednesday, have everything recorded, and have the video posted for this Wednesday. Fell short on that goal, so I posted my Australian Thunder Egg polishing video instead. But I'm actually trying to get the obsidian order done this week hopefully for next Wednesday's video. I don't want to say for sure, but that's what I'm aiming for. And then I picked up some cool stuff at a craft store for a future video idea. Thought it'd be cool to get some of those Nat Geo, kids things that has like the fossils and the tumbled rocks in there. You can like chip out and see what's in there. So I thought that'd be kind of fun to do, like an unboxing one of those, and break away the rocks and see what's inside. That way parents can see what's on the inside before they buy them. Little tester. But yeah, that was
Nice.
Yeah, basically
Good.
the extent of my week, just trying to work hard at getting some stuff caught up so I can just kind of breathe a little bit. But yeah, other than that, I mean, any interesting projects aside from little event on the week?
Taylor.
I just finished the big project with polishing the sagonite agate and the moss agate that I just cut, and just kind of getting some other things ready for some other projects. Won't say exactly what, because I want it to be more of a surprise, but it has to do with agates, not from my region, from different parts of the country and world. I'm
cool.
really excited about it. So gonna be having a lot of fun with that. Some fun lapidary projects.
Nice.
When
Sounds
can we
like a lot of
expect to
fun.
see that?
Next week's video is going to be a rock hunting video, so I'm hoping in 2 weeks. So it's going to be a bunch of really cool stuff. I've never seen it before. I've never handled it, so it's going to be all new. And I've seen pictures from the person who sent it to me, and it's insane.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
You were
plot
thinking of something
thickens.
there, Kurt.
Yeah. Well,
What were you
I don't really
thinking?
have any future projects yet. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I was talking to Jared with currently Rockhounding yesterday, and he mentioned to me that my channel is about to hit 100 videos, which is crazy because I didn't even realize I've made that many videos. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do special for that 100th video. So
That's awesome.
Give away $100.
No, I can't do that right now.
To me. Yeah.
That's a huge feat, though. Congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I was looking at Kyle's channel because we're always in like a
Friendly competition.
And you're I think you're sitting at like 79 videos. So I was just kind of curious where like me and you sit.
I guess my future project was oh, that's right, I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers.
You are getting close.
That's awesome.
I'm not
How
ready.
close are you though?
Such a huge feat.
I think I'm at 963. I think the last time I checked.
Nice.
And today I was thinking a lot about the project that I want to do for when I get to that milestone, and I have a couple cool ideas how to unveil it that would make it seem appropriate for the material that I'm using. That's all I can really say.
Is it
another cliffhanger?
Just a little hint? Is it that idea that you had that I forwarded you? I sent you a message of the video from TikTok.
No, I want to use ferns and moss and make it seem like a.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Okay, yeah.
That sounds really cool.
And maybe some even some dry ice and some water.
Ooh.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, two of us are not in on this, and so we're like,
Oh, that's right, Karen. I didn't tell.
we'll be waiting.
No, I don't think you told either. I mean, you kind of talked to Agate Dad about it whenever like the Maker Challenge was going on. I think from what you said,
Yeah,
but I don't think you told Karen.
I think actually I sent Taylor a picture of what I was working on.
That's what I was kind of like. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Karen, I'll send you pictures of what I'm working on.
Okay.
Get you in the loop. Everyone watching will be like,
It's
"What is he working on?"
I want to know now.
I'll wait with everybody else. It's okay. There's a camaraderie in that. Well, I'm working on a box of stuff that actually Kurt sent me. So my little all you need is right there, and
Nice.
Nice.
I'm polishing away. Plus the sun came out, and whenever that happens, I get to work on some carving outside, and so that's when I don't or do kill opals, and because boulder opal you got to take outside, it's like a spray tan, and man, yeah, I put up a short of one of them that I did. It's just so much fun chasing those rainbows. I don't know if you guys have done that, but like going through a seam of like the rough boulder opal and either cracking it or picking into it and finding that the precious opal is, I mean, the opal fever thing is real. It's real. People.
Sounds fun.
I would have a hard time like cracking into it. Like I would need to grind down the matrix to get to the opal.
That's me. Yeah, because you think, it's opal. It's they're not supposed to craze, but they can crack. You can get a crack inclusion, and so I just dig in with the diamond burrs, and I actually have a hand saw that I can use for sawing the opal, is instead of like using just a trim saw. And so you can be very exact as to following the river of color. It's kind of cool.
Nice.
So
nice.
that was my indulgence.
Nice.
Did we get everyone?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Went.
So who wants to lead off with the questions for Taylor?
Go
ahead.
You want to go?
Go ahead, Kurt. Nope.
Okay. So Taylor, when you're out rock hounding, what is the most interesting animal that you've come across while out on a rock adventure?
Yeah, so it's not probably not the most interesting, but it's more of the experience with it. There's a lot of white-tailed deer up here, among other things, but I actually got really close to one and filmed it, and we were like 10 feet away from each other, and it was just really cool getting to see it. And they're so still, and they just have the big doe eyes, they just look right at you. It was really cool, and I was like, hey, I think I got it on a video, so somewhere on
That's
YouTube.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. Oh, that'll be really cool. It's a very there's been a couple times when I've had deer run up to me. And it's kind of like deer's kind of like a basic animal. They're kind of everywhere, but it's a really cool experience when you have one come up close to you and not run. And you just kind of share like a little moment together. Super cool.
Because they have such a huge like fear, like a flight instinct.
Yes.
And it's really cool to just see them be still for a bit.
Yep. I completely agree with that. You want to go, Karen, or
Awesome.
Kyle?
Karen.
Well, I'm getting like this question out there. Just I'm so addicted to the answer that each person has answered with so far. So I got to use it again. What was the strangest thing that you've ever found while you were rock hounding? And it doesn't have to be a rock.
Okay. So it's strange in like the realm of chance. So among, rocks and fossils and all the stuff that I can find up on the North Shore, some of the other stuff is like beach glass and it's tumbled by the lake. And you can also find like ceramics from like plates and dishware. And I was out on a beach and I found this little kind of cream and green colored ceramic. And I was like, that's really cool because I really like the color green. And like 1 or 2 feet away was another one, identical, same pattern, everything. And I was just like blown away that in this big lake, like Lake Superior is the biggest freshwater lake on the planet, that somewhere there's some broken something and those two just rolled up together. And then I just happened to be there the day that they were on the beach. It just like, I was like, that is crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Did you buy a lottery ticket?
I still have.
Yeah.
So I thought that'd be really good to like drill holes in for like a necklace or something, and like 2 people could have them because they worked through so much to stay together. I was like, that'd be kind of
that would be really cool.
Somebody wanted that.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool.
Nice.
Good answer.
Yeah.
I like it.
Give it to my boys or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I guess my question would be, do you think there are any famous people that are into rock hounding and are secretly watching everyone's content? And if you had to guess, who would you think is into the hobby?
Oh, I feel like probably Tom Hanks. He seems pretty down to earth, but I think he'd really be into my channel because I feel like he'd have a big connection with Scoopy with the whole Wilson thing.
Oh,
Like,
good point.
Hit it off.
Totally.
That'd be crazy to find out though, if like you get like somebody famous or like, comments and like, are you? And they're like, yeah. Get like the verified thing.
Yeah, you gotta have the verified. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
crazy
cool.
to see that in the comments. They're like, and just like nerd out.
Totally.
Yeah.
They've got to have aliases.
I know I've
though,
had
and you're
one
just
comment.
wondering.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I was just gonna say, I know I've seen one comment where I was like, that's the same name as a famous person. I can't remember it, but I was like, I wonder. That'd be, but I bet they do have the aliases. They can't just go around commenting,
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Kind of keep them from getting bombarded for whatever they're watching.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
I think that was all our questions.
Do you have any questions?
But I think
Go Go ahead.
Never mind.
I think the audience actually they wanted to know about what got you into rock hounding, Taylor. And so I think that's like a fantastic kind of question to you know, get folks to, you know you if they haven't already checked out your channel and whatnot.
Yeah, so we recently moved up to the Duluth area a couple of years ago, and when we moved up here, I was asking coworkers and people that I knew up here, like, what's there to do? You know, the hiking, hunting, fishing, all that stuff. I was like, what else? You know, is there anything else to do? And this one guy was like, you should go agate hunting. And I was like, that's a cool sounding bird. You know, like, what is that? And he's like, no, it's a mineral. I'm like, oh yeah, like a snipe. That's what I was thinking, like literally like a snipe. But I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, it's a state gemstone. Google it. And I was like, okay. So I started Googling it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, these are out there and nobody is finding these. Like, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to a beach and find one of these big, you know, agates. And he's like, yeah, go to the beach and just start flipping rocks. That's how you find them. You have to flip rocks and the bands will be underneath. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, so I'm on the beach, you know, flipping rocks, and it was like the first time I went, I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go find this huge agate, and I'm like out there for half hour or so. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go. And as I turned around to walk to my car, I took like 2 steps and I stopped, and I backed up and I looked down because there was one rock that looked different than the rest around it. So I picked up the agate, and there had the bands. And from that moment, I was instantly hooked because it was just so awesome getting to find that. And then I was in. I started going to the library, renting books on agates, mineralogy, old books from like the 50s on, you know, agate hunting spots. And at the beginning, it was all agates. I was passing up on everything. I was just tunnel vision on agates. And then, you know, as I progressed and stuff, I started finding other things. I'm like, well, that's really pretty. What's that? And it's like, oh, that's Mary Ellen Jasper. Or, oh, that's Jasper. Oh, this is a fossil. Like, it just snowballed, and it has been the best hobby I've ever had. And I always tell people it's my cup runneth over hobby because there's just so much to it. It's so fun.
So how long ago would you say that this started?
It was almost 2 years ago. It was in May. It was when I found my first agate. And nice. I remember as a kid, like we grew up in the country, so I was always picking rocks on like our gravel driveway and stuff. And so like when I was like, I'm gonna go agate hunting for the first time, I was like, I'm gonna you know channel my inner kid and go find some treasure. And I definitely got hooked.
It's a good hobby to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very healthy.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah. And it's really pure too, because you're out in nature and you're just enjoying it. You're finding treasure, and you know, most of us are trying to do our part. We're finding garbage and picking it up and trying to have good conservation with it and stuff.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So what compelled you after becoming, you know, this agate crazed guy to start video taping and do the whole YouTube channel thing?
Yeah, so, you know, thinking about it, I was like, it'd be fun to share videos of how to find agates. And I mean, if you look back at my first few videos, it's all like, how to find agates. This is what to look for, you know. And it's like, if you can sit through the cringe, it's pretty funny. And the other thing too is like, I wanted to do it so bad just to like have fun with it, but one of my biggest fears is public speaking. So I was like, I got to get over that. So I'm like, I'm going to challenge myself to just start this YouTube channel, and I'm going to get through that fear. So the first video I'm wearing, I think it's the first video I'm wearing sunglasses. It's not because it's sunny out. Because I was so nervous.
Wow.
So
that is so cool to know.
Yeah. And it gets easier. Like, it's still hard, you know, but I mean, you get better at editing, where you're like, you start talking and you know, like that happens in every single video for me, where it's like, okay, I'll start up at this point, you know, and you just smack them together. But it definitely gets easier, and I'm like 130 some videos into it, and I'm still a little nervous with public speaking, but it's not as bad as it was.
Well,
but
okay, I was just gonna say you do a really good job. I like watching. Like when I first started watching your channel a little over a year ago, and then to like now. Like you pronounce your words very clearly, and you always give so much information whenever you are explaining what you're finding, and you also throw in a lot of fun and makes me laugh a lot of the time. So yeah, you do an awesome job.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, I just like it's such a fun hobby. It's so pure, and I just want to make it enjoyable for the viewer. You know, if you can get one laugh from one person, one smile from one person, it's worth it. Like I've always said, like if one person is watching and enjoying it, I'll do it. I'll keep doing it. Like I did it for months with one person watching. So it's just like I just like people are enjoying it, and like all of us, you know, we're creating videos for people and they're watching. Like it's I feel like it's a gift we've been handed to be able to entertain people and help them enjoy stuff and give them a break from the world and everything going on.
And it motivates them too.
Yeah.
I gotta reveal that as I was going through the comments of the last stream that we did with Jesse of Rookie Rockhounding, there was a question about who would you like to see on the podcast, I'm sure, because so many people were offering their suggestions. And guess whose name came up a bunch, Taylor?
Whose?
Taylor.
Oh,
Agate Dad.
Yeah,
I was like oh, it'd be so cool with Agate Dad. Yeah, I know.
Who be?
I don't know.
I was like, the cliffhanger is serious. Like, who is it? Like, I can't wait for the next couple weeks for who's coming on.
Yeah, I was so pleased. Nice. Like, yeah, I gotta say to the viewers that I'm sorry I didn't get to a bunch of the comments, and we will. You know, I'm sure we'll all take turns like trying to comment to all of yours, because we definitely love the fact that you all responded in such a bulk. But it was so cool to see like, oh, it's going to be Agate Dad, you know, or it would be so cool to see Agate Dad on. And so I got to say, yeah, he's next. That's so cool. You just made my day. I was getting, you know, the replies back. So anyways, you got to know that, Taylor. So it's not just one person anymore.
Yeah, there's lots of people. I also had people message me on Facebook and Instagram about the last episode. You know, they're like, the next perfect person should be Agate Dad. I was like, well, guess what? He's our next guy.
That's so sweet. The honestly, like the community of supporters with the community of Rockhounds on YouTube, like they're the best, hands down, the greatest. And I've always said that to everybody, like between like you know, the Rockhounding community on YouTube versus Instagram and Facebook and everywhere, I'll put the YouTube support against anybody. They're amazing, so kind.
Yeah,
completely agree.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's probably some other niches out there on YouTube where they're not near as supportive, at least not to my knowledge. But I feel like the niche that we have, like everyone helps each other out. I mean, I've reached out to other channels and thinking that they wouldn't even respond because they have such a large following, and they responded back. Yeah. It's awesome.
Rock people rock.
Yeah, literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
One thing I wanted to say that I thought was kind of funny when I ever first started watching your channel, Taylor, and I created my channel. You asked me if I wanted to hear something funny about you, so I said sure, and you said growing up, going through school, you were not interested. You failed geology, but now
Twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
It was the only class I failed in, or not the only class. It was the only class I couldn't pass in college, and I tried. Like I did the lab with it, passed that, but like the actual course,
math,
I just couldn't do it. And I was like, this is boring. And now I'm like, I bet I'd love it. It's funny how your interests change as you grow.
Totally. Yeah.
That's amazing. That was not what I was going to expect to hear.
My college degree is like furthest away from geology or anything with that.
What is it?
It's human development and family science. And
well, that's awesome.
Yeah. So before I was working in the biomedical technician realm, I was a child care coordinator for a year. So that was
Awesome.
working
You
with
and
kids all through
Rookie.
college, and yeah, I was like, when we started talking, I'm like, what do you do? I'm like, I used to do that.
All the cool kids. Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
little angels.
You guys both have that same kind of like very like kind personality. It's like so
Thank you.
that would make sense.
Yeah, it's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it takes a lot of patience to work with other people's kids. That's for sure. But the things that come out of their mouths is so funny. They're so kind, and you know, they're great. I'm glad I have a couple of my own.
Yeah, little humans are rad, and what you said was golden about like working with other people's kids, because sometimes you're like not even into your own. Like so then,
Yeah.
there are those times. But yeah, it's obviously such an important thing, you know, to be there for the next generation. And I think it's so cool that you guys are, you know, boots on the ground to get these guys exposed to the rocks and whatnot. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever hope that your kids like actually get into the rocks and stay into rocks rather than grow out of grow out of it? Because I know that there are some kids out there they'll be in the rocks for a little bit, and then as they get older, they just like no.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do stay with it, but the one thing I've always thought about is I'm never gonna like force you to come with me, because that is gonna like take all the fun of it. Like, I gotta go with Dad, you know, go find some rocks. It's like I want you to want to come with me, and like way down the road, like they're off of college or wherever, they come back like, hey, want to go hit up a river? Like, that'd be fun. Let's make some memories, you know.
Yep.
And I mean, I really do hope they enjoy it, because if they don't, I'm gonna have to change my channel name, because that's kind of the whole point of it.
Yeah, you landed on Agate Dad. I mean, you know, there was a little bit of banter about that earlier with some of our other guests about the fact that one, it was taken, and two, are you like part of the Rock Mom and Agate Dad union and like, things like that?
Yeah. I'm trying to. Yeah, I think it was Theo was saying that Montana Rock Mom wanted to be Aga Mom, but didn't want to like have people think. Like, I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard when I read that.
Yeah, it's taken.
Yeah, finding a good name on YouTube it's not necessarily easy, because they don't have that feature on YouTube, or if you type a name, they'll tell you, oh, that name's taken. You can always try this, so you can have like 100 people with the same name, and so that can be frustrating. But you lucked out.
And when I started out, it was, I mean, this August will be 2 years. Like I had mentioned, I was very green with all of this. So I was like doing research and typing like agate hunting. And I'm like, nobody's doing this. There's nobody on YouTube doing this. There's one guy in Michigan and there's one guy in Australia. Nobody's doing this. And then like I started getting into it, and someone's like, hey, good rock hounding video. I'm like, what's rock hounding? You know? And they're like, that's what you're doing. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like that. That would have been a good name, Rockhounding.Dad, you know? But yeah, it's been so fun jumping into this. But yeah, I didn't know about like any of the other like veteran channels that were out there and stuff. And it was really fun. It's really fun starting out.
We came to find out there's a lot more rock channels than we had originally thought. I mean, you know, you're in the in our Facebook group. Like, I did not expect there to be that many rock hounding or even rock niche channels out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are we at now? Like what, 70 or 80?
I think we're at 81.
80
I think.
Yeah.
Every time you look, it's like up a few more. More. It's crazy.
But we encourage people to either have a YouTube channel that want to start, like, to reach out to us, because it's a very supportive community. I have a friend that does rock hounding, and I'm sure he's going to watch this podcast. hey Chris, I tell them, I was like, hey, start a YouTube channel and let me know when you do. We have all the support that you can ever ask for. Because he goes out a lot more than I do.
Mhm.
He goes to some pretty cool places and finds some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But
Just start it up. Don't wait. Just get it going. Start posting.
Yep. Doesn't matter how cringy it is. Just post it.
Well, look at my first video. You gotta start somewhere.
Look at all of our first videos.
Exactly.
Oh gosh. Yeah. They're badge of honors or whatnot. Yeah, so that's interesting. That actually really segues into a question that a viewer asked in the last podcast about. So it was Robin Finley, and they were asking what's missing online for Rockhounds. Like as a new channel, Taylor, or of course, all of you guys ruminating. What is still not there that you'd love to have been able to like just type in and go, oh, that helps me so much, or what resource are we missing, do you think?
I think it'd be like maybe just like a starter pack. Like, what are you filming with? Like, oh, I'm using a phone. Okay, hit the phone. Here's some great apps that are free. Here's some that are great that you can pay for. And then here's like a bunch of apps to do thumbnails. And then make sure you get the YouTube Studio app. And then just kind of like a good layout on how to start posting. Like, and because I know at like the beginning for me, I would do like one full take when I'd say something. If I mess it up, I'd start over. So like,
oh my gosh,
don't forget, like, don't worry about it. Took forever. That's why the first video was so bad. But like,
I get
don't
it.
worry.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't worry about your words. Like, you can split, you can cut, you can put it together. Just like a big starter pack for these new channels, because it would take so much weight off. Like, oh, I can mess up and it's still fine. And every video is full of errors, but it's all edited out. And even like, are you using a laptop? Here's a couple good free editing softwares, and here's a bunch of how-to videos on YouTube that you can use to figure it out. Like, because that first time it can be a lot of growing pains.
And the thing is too, like you can start with just your phone. You can always upgrade. Like that's not a big issue at all.
Yeah.
I think Taylor, weren't you the one that had asked me about my light setup? And then yeah,
that helps so much.
Yeah, it's a matter of growing. Start with just a seed. You'll get to a tree eventually. It just takes time and just takes effort.
And there's no rush either. Like you start, like you said, you start with the seed, and that's how it's supposed to go. And as you get along and you get comfortable, you add a new dynamic into your channel, and you get comfortable. You throw in a drone or whatever you want to do. Just there's no rush. That's why they say it's a marathon.
And another thing is, if you like when you're first starting out, like I didn't know how to start. So what I did was reach out to other Rockhounds on YouTube and talk to them and asked advice from them, like how do you start? And they kind of helped. Just kind of like, if you have a phone, use the phone. If you have a video camera, use that. Just go with whatever you have. And that most of the 90% of the Rockhounding community are very helpful and will help you out. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. I love when people reach out and they're like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I was like, yes, do it. What do you film?
100%.
Okay, here's some apps. Oh, you're using your computer, try this out. Like, I love it gets me excited because it's like, I want to see where you go. I really look forward to seeing how it goes. It's so fun.
Speaking of how far people go, I think I started watching your channel. Weren't you like 3,000 last year?
Yeah,
that's when I started watching.
You've grown quite a bit. So with that being said, how often do you have people reaching out to you with the amount of supporters that you have?
Well, I probably get a couple messages. Probably a couple messages a day, if not like every other day I'll get a couple messages. And a lot of them are from people that I've been talking to for a long time, but I'd say like new people that are asking for help, or like, where'd you get this? Or like, hey, I'm coming up for a vacation. Where's some good spots? It's probably once a week, maybe twice a week. I'll get a new person that I haven't talked to before.
That's not bad.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. No, that's so cool that they're coming to you for, some insight or some, they're inspired by you.
Yeah.
I think that's very cool.
Yeah. And I will say too, I get a lot of people asking for direct spots, and I'll tell them for like my area, head up the old North Shore Drive and pull off. And like in my head, I'm like, I could tell you directly 100 spots. But if I tell you exactly where to go and you step out of your car and you find one, it's not going to be as fun as if you kind of venture off and explore yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I don't want to, I just want you to get the absolute most out of it. And I also push people towards agatology.com. It's a local guy. He's got so many resources and actually classes and everything on there. So I push people towards that, and then also like kind of give them like a nudge in the right direction, but not exactly. And there is a reason why. It's not because I don't want to share. It's I want you to get the most out of it.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's kind of like how they call it fishing, not catching. Like, because part of the experience is actually doing the thing. And so, I think that's cool that there's, somebody should put in some footwork on it and get the full experience. That's a great way to guide people.
Yeah. Because I've been pushed to like legit coordinates, and it's like, oh wow, and then I find stuff, it's like, this is awesome, wow, but then I've had times where I'm like on my phone finding GPS and I mark a spot, and then I'm in
back out. I did not mean to interrupt. I was just saying, like, you go you mark a spot and you go to the exact spot when you're in the area next time. And then like I'm deep in the creek and I find like just one. That is more rewarding than being gifted a spot and finding a like 20. I picked the one over the 20. All about the experience.
I love that.
There's
when you find your way into like what could almost feel like your own intimate, like, lucky spot.
Yeah.
Like, I think that that's
also a sense of adventure in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the other important thing is too, like if you even if you don't find a rock, enjoy that time out,
the experience,
but also take the time to kind of reset.
Absolutely.
And I can't tell you how many times I've been out in the high desert out here in Oregon, and the moment that you get out of that car, and it's not a windy day, and it's not raining, and there's just no sound, the sound of silence is deafening. There's nothing. And it's nice. Just like,
so good.
Man.
Yeah. Another good tip is, like, if you're not sure where to go, like a lot of times when I'm driving from, if I'm on a road trip, or if I am just traveling to the next town and I'm driving, I'm always looking off. Yes, my eyes are on the road, but they're also off on the side looking for new locations to hunt. I'll mark those spots, just like what Taylor was saying, and mark them so that way I can come back to them later. And like, if you look at my phone on like maps, there's a clear trail from Vermont all the way to Colorado of random little spots.
That's exactly
what I
planned. Yeah. Yeah. So
it's bad.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's bad. We have a little mini school bus that we fashioned into a glamping outfit so that we could go into the backcountry. And as we're going, unfortunately, we still have the full glass school bus doors, so I can see the ground. Wait, there's a rock. Wait, there's a rock. And like, it's awesome because I can see like what the terrain and the different geology is doing, especially when we're out in the back country. And so I like you, Kurt, like mine is a little bit more analog, but you know, on the Atlas, I'm like, that was hot. That was hot.
I kind of do the same
So
thing.
go ahead.
I just use Google Maps, and when I'm out and about, I just mark where I'm at, put a little note of what I found there, so I kind of get an idea of like what's in that general area. Like we have a place here in Oregon where like there is Saginite, and the stuff's beautiful, but I have yet to actually find any. And the last time I took my friend out there to kind of poke around and see what we could find, the only thing that we really found was a little piece of sea maggot, and it was nothing like the material that I was hoping to find. So I just gave it to him while we were there. He's like, "Oh, are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay. I have plenty of rocks at home. Not a big deal." But supposedly, like,
Taylor knows where there's Saginite.
So is it Saginite or Saganite?
I've always called it Saginite. I mean, you know, again, tomato. I'm sure everyone has their own preferences of how they say it. I personally don't care.
Yeah. Like when I started, I was like Chalcedony.
Yep, I was one of those guys too. Like had only read it and not heard it, and then you know I'm at Tucson Gem Show and like, oh, Chalcedony.
Oh, Chalcedony.
I can't help it. I can't say without like somehow like a little Australian accent from watching so many rookie videos. Chalcedony.
I'm sure.
I talk to others too. They're like, "Do you do that too?" I'm like, "I do that."
Everyone has their own way of saying things. I mean, I've had people like even with my last name, because my last name is Rich Creek, and sometimes when people call me Rich Crick, I'm like, it is what it is. But come on.
the biggest
country folk.
the biggest one for me is what it's Chalcedony? Chalcedony? That's how I pronounce it. Some there's a couple people that pronounce it Chalcedony. So like if sometimes when I'm like out and I'm hunting, you'll hear me say both versions or like a third version in the same video within minutes of each other. And then I'm like, wait a second, what did I say?
Bright side is you're appeasing everybody.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, there's a lot of the words, like if you don't, you know, grow up with somebody in the house saying them to you, the geology's got a bunch of weird, you know, sound and words to it. So good on you just for saying. Keep on.
I've had a few people try to correct me on how I'm saying agate because of like my accent, and I'm like,
what accent?
What accent? I sound normal, you know, but I'm like, I know it's like, and I hear everybody else say it, and I'm like, I don't think anything of it because I think accents and you know where you're from, you know. But I'm like, how do you guys say bag?
Bag.
You know, this is different, you know. So, but I've had someone they're like, they spelled out agate. I'm like, I'm from Minnesota.
It's okay. Sometimes I'll be outside and I don't know even how it got started. Sometimes I'll be like Giespa, but I'm not even like from the east state, so it's like
that's funny.
Found a little piece of Giespa.
Yeah, but
it's wicked.
Yeah, it's wicked that way.
It's a wicked piece of Giespa.
Wicked smat. What other questions you got on there, Karen?
Okay, let's see. Well, we've covered some of it. Let's pull another one out of the bag. Oh, here's an actually good one. So there are folks that are asking about, you know, if they're getting started, as we've just been talking about, how do you know what a stone is when you're looking at the rough, like in the field? You know, I thought that was a really good question. It's kind of like the Meno paradox. Like if you've never seen a bird before, how do you know a bird when you see it? You know?
That's a good question.
Absolutely.
It is.
I think, you know, if you're going to go out and look for rocks, you just got to grab stuff and then bring it home and open a book or open your computer and start researching. And like, cause like I started with research first, and then I went out in the field and expected to find agates. like that, and it's like nope. So then it was like, better start looking for Chalcedony, you know, and all this stuff. And it was like, it just, you
Say it
start
right.
picking up on Chalcedony. And but yeah, once you start finding your interests and stuff, it really helps, excuse me, to train your eyes on what you're looking for. Like even like right now, I've even noticed I'm like my eyes have really started coming home with finding agates like in the lake, like looking through water at them. I'm like, I really feel like I'm hitting my stride with that. But last year it was just like, I'm not finding anything. But I can find, like the last summer I was like, I can find them on the beach, no problem. It's like you have to train your eyes to know texture and how the light hits it. You know, if it's dark out, what does it look like? And even what they look like with moss on them and or creek scum. It's just a lot of training and research.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool that you bring that up, like, having the agate goggles on,
Yeah, exactly.
or
I'm sorry.
I said it right?
No, I'm sorry. I'm laughing about something else.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Kyle knows.
I've got the pen of Expo. For those that don't know
Right
what's going
on.
on, I write down timestamps of
Yeah.
switches,
Yeah.
so it makes my job easier.
Oh, okay, yeah. I said it better.
But yeah, seeing the different rocks through the water, that is definitely a thing. I cannot see rocks in water, and I mean, Kurt, you do that, right?
Yeah.
With freezing feet, you try to do that.
Yeah. I pretty much like what Taylor was saying. Like, you just have to go out and find it and bring it back and research it. Different areas of the different regions, the agates and jasper, it all looks different. So like you like, if I'm sure if I send a box of stuff to Taylor, he may be able to identify a few of like a little bit of it, but not. I don't know your full skills, so you may be able to identify the entire box. But yeah, just every rock in different regions can be different. Like when I first started hunting in Utah, I thought I was finding agate. I mean, not agate, jasper, rainbow jasper, because I couldn't find anything on it. And then like months go by and realize all that stuff that I found was actually yellow cat agate, which is super rare stuff.
Right.
And I gave it all away.
No big deal.
So yeah. So
Go back for more.
but I noticed that the video that you put out today, Taylor, you kind of touched base on that, on how you identified those agates that you were cutting and polishing, of like what to look for and so forth, which I thought was really cool.
And yeah, they, if you look at both of them, one is white, one is red. I showed them a little bit wet and a little bit dry, and they both can have different looks. And the big 1.2 pound one, when I found it, actually, this guy saw this guy on the beach, and he was like, "Did you find anything?" I was like, "Yes. Can I show you?" So I pulled it out, and he's just like, "I mean, there should be some details." I'm like, "There is, right?" I was almost doubting myself, and I'm like, "It's a moss agate. I guarantee it's a moss agate. Like you can see the slick marks, and like if you look up really close, there's actually crystal impressions in it." I'm like, "It's a dead giveaway." And when I cut it, I'm like, I knew it, but a lot. And then I posted a picture of it as whole on a Facebook group, and then a couple of people are like, "I don't see it." I'm like, "You will," because I am trusting myself and my little bit of knowledge. With the slickness, the waxiness, the transparency, I'm like, it has to be at least Chalcedony, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Maybe he's wanting you to drop it so he can pick it back up when you turned around.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I guess I'll just leave this. I know there's a few that I've just thrown. I'm like, oh, it's nothing. And I see a picture of something. I'm like, shoot, that was big.
That was a question. That was another question that a viewer asked about. Have you ever been haunted by a stone that you left behind and you were like, like I had it and left it?
Not one that I left behind, but I did a big giveaway a while back, and I gave away 2 big boxes. and I threw a big chunk of jasper in each box. And this is before I knew anything about Mary Ellen jasper. And I gave probably a 10-pound piece of Mary Ellen jasper to somebody. And I was like, I want that back. But I'm happy they got it because I'm like, that's super rare. Because like the biggest piece I found, I actually just found a green one last week, and it's like the size of my fist. I was like, that's pretty cool. That'll tumble nice.
Nice. It's kind of like the yellow cat with Kurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys are so giving. You're so giving.
I know. After I gave all that yellow cat away, I had some people reach out to me like, "Hey, I heard you accidentally gave me yellow cat. Do you want it back?" Like, no, it was a good, it was a good, completely a good trade. Don't worry about it. I'll find some more. So,
You're like, I didn't know where to go for it. I'm not telling.
Yeah.
Know the source.
Yeah, exactly. But
how about you, Kyle? Do you have a rock that you left behind that has a rock shaped hole in your heart?
There's actually a little bit longer story to it, and I don't really know how to say the story without coming off as whiny, I guess. So the short story of it is, I was at a local dig site, and the owner was out there with his excavator. He was digging some fresh holes for the customers. And Karen, I'm sure you know where this is at. Sweet home.
Yep.
Okay. So out there digging holes, he gets out, takes a phone call, and I'm looking around the tailings. Well, I find a cylindrical piece of rock. I'm like, huh. Take it in my bucket, wash it off. I'm like, oh. I'll add pictures here in post. Found a solid agatized limb cast.
Wow.
And I did get to keep it. Was the short.
Wait, what?
I didn't get to keep it. So I came back and I asked, like, hey, is anything around here up for grabs? Because it's a pay what you find type deal. In this case, I think it was like $1.50 because it was an off sale day, so it would have cost me about $1.50.
$1.50 per pound.
Yeah.
Type deal. Yeah.
And they he's like, oh, everything except for that. And he's pointing at the rock on my hand. I'm like, oh
no. No freaking way.
Come on, man.
I was salty about it all day. I'm still a little salty about it because, like,
we can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt. Well, the thing is, like, it was my first limb cast ever found out there. My very first one. I'm like, oh man, this is cool. Well, towards the end of the day, the owner comes up. He's like, hey, and at this point, I've already done some digging. After a while, I dug up a 120-pound petrified root, and so he did let me keep that in fair but it's not really what I wanted. I wanted something I could put on a shelf. I can't quite put a 120-pound petrified root ball on the shelf behind me.
I'm trying to see, if there's space that we could.
But to this day, like, I was doing some work for him. Like, hey, in trade for all this work that I've been doing, I don't want any money. I don't want any really trades of like raw material. The only thing I want is that limb cast. And they said, I'm sorry, but the limb cast is not on the table for discussion. I'm like, okay. And so to this day, I still do not have the limb cast. I mean, he did say that I would have first dibs if he ever decided to get rid of it. And so to this day, that's all I want. It was an awesome limb cast. I mean, I did find like a little tiny like carnelian limb cast out there, but still, it's not the same. Like, I mean, it's cool. It's really cool, but it's like it's not my first limb cast, and it's not. It's a little one. It was like about as wide as my fist. I mean, it was a good sized limb cast, like solid agate all the way through. So that's my salty story.
That's cool.
Yeah,
not cool that you lost it, but sounds cool.
Yeah.
How about you,
I-
Kurt? Did you leave one behind?
I did, but I went back and got it later. It was out in Vermont. I was out hiking on a landslide area, and I actually I showed it to you in the right before the second episode of the podcast. That big massive like cluster of like smoky quartz and muscovite and garnets and everything. I still need to weigh it, but when I was out on that landslide, I found it, rolled it downhill to the river, washed it off. It was just like crazy beautiful, and it was too heavy to take back through the hike back up creek and take it back with me. So I used some rocks and that's chisels and hammers and chiseled off a couple of small pieces of it. And that night I just was in the back of my mind all night long. So the next morning I went back out and grabbed my best backpack that I had and hiked back to that spot to where I hit it and rolled it into the bag and just suffered that like mile hike upriver going through. So and brought it to Colorado with me. So yeah,
It's awesome.
Nice.
The dedication that we have for this passion, I'm telling you, it's
Yeah.
crazy. That's another good question is like, what's the craziest thing that you've done for rock hounding? You know, like, I'm sure that there's a lot of interesting answers there.
Yes.
A lot of sweat, pain, and swearing, especially if it's
Yep.
uphill.
Yep.
For me,
Or
a
going
lot of
through
freezing.
icy water.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I was saying. A lot of freezing. Yeah. That I don't know if you guys ever saw, but the underwater video I did, the very first one,
I saw it.
I legit almost got hypothermia from that.
Oh, wow.
Like I was grabbing rocks under there. When I grab it, my fingers would zing, zing. And I was like, that's not good. And then I got out and I was stumbling around the beach. I'm like, nah, that's not good either. So I like got to the car and cranked the heat and I looked up like symptoms of hypothermia, like 4 out of 6. I was like 80 degrees out. The car is just so hot and I had the heat on for like a half hour. I warmed up quick, but I was like, I need a top and a hood for my wetsuit. So I went and bought one that week.
Is that lake cold all the year round?
Yeah, and it really depends on the wind because I've swam in it for hours and it's been fine, but there'll be times when you're in it and it's nice, but then the wind changes and the kind of the current of the lake comes in and it'll go to that hypothermic waters real quick.
Wow.
But it's so
Yikes.
big and depends on how much ice is in it in winter and stuff too. But yeah, it's so big it just doesn't warm up.
Glad you make it out okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
I know my wife wasn't happy.
Do you have the wetsuit, hood, gloves, booties, like the kit for rock hounding, or do you do other sports in the lake?
No, it's just for rock hounding.
Yes,
So I got all that stuff just for rock hounding.
that's awesome.
We call
Right
those
on. You gotta have the right
investments.
gear.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it was fun.
Along with the technology like Scoopy.
Yes.
How much did you
Yeah.
pay for Scoopy, by the way?
I got it as a gift from my father-in-law, but I think at that point it was $45 for that. And I think the prices of them have gone up. I get a lot of people asking like, where'd you get that? It's like KingsleyNorth.com. No affiliation, but I'm happy to support them, local company and I guess American company. So
Yeah, I got mine for $8,
oh, nice.
and I think
nice.
I think the price tag's still on it, and I've had it it was at an estate sale, and there was 2 of them. I almost got both of them, but I think one was shorter than the other. I'm like, no, I'm a little taller. I need to have the longer scooped handle, and it's handy.
Yeah. They make some now that fold and stuff. I'm like, that'd be really good for like the backpack and then like a long hike in or out of wherever. But yeah, I think mine's the 42-inch.
Yeah, the longer ones are good. I could see how the folding ones would work great, but for me, I use mine as not really as a walking stick, but sometimes I lean on it a little bit,
Yeah.
and I don't think the folding ones would support my weight. They'd probably break the first day out.
Yeah, I definitely use mine not as recommended sometimes. Like some of the cliffs I try to get up are like really slick, muddy cliffs, and I'll use Scoopy to wrap around a tree, just like 1, 2, I'm like, please don't break, you know, just to try to get up. And then I'll grab another tree, and it's like definitely not how you're supposed to use it, but it's like I won't be able to get out if I don't.
That'd be funny if there whoever's making those is watching this and like, well, okay, let's make a more expensive model made out of titanium.
That's for Taylor.
Right, and climbing and spelunking if you need to, right?
Yeah.
Built-in flashlights, grappling hooks, you know, it works.
Compass.
Ooh, that'd be a good addition.
That is.
Right, a little light, you know, so that you can uplight your agates and make sure that you get what you got.
And I think
okay, ideas out there.
Yeah, and I think that company's in Michigan, and it's like the Uperlite capital. So like at the end of the stick, they could put like a UV light, so you could just.
Oh, that'd be cool. I need to get one of those scoop things.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kurt. Like, here I am, you know, reaching up to here in the Pacific, trying to get that little agatized spiral shell that I see.
Yeah, I use my GeoPick for that type stuff. For like whenever I'm climbing uphill, just like slice it into the ground and pull myself up, or wrap it around a tree. And same thing when I'm out on the river, I use the flat side to scoop it up, and it's not as secure that way like the Scoopies, but it works.
Yeah.
So
better than the frozen hand.
Better than the frozen hand, yeah, and
Yeah.
frozen feet.
Well, I think the gnome is speaking.
Oh my gosh.
We gotten to our hour mark so far. So, are there any other questions that we should address, or if Taylor has any questions or things that you would like to bring up for as far as your channel, promotions, anything?
Karen?
I was going to ask Taylor a question.
Yeah.
It looked like you had a really super cool studio edition in your last video that I think was awesome.
Studio edition.
It was 10 inches.
10 inches.
High tech.
Oh,
it was a saw, right?
God, such a blank. I hope High Tech's not watching.
Where is she going with this?
Yeah. No, yeah. Just got the new saw. Really excited. I love my 7-inch saw, and I'll never get rid of that thing because somebody, a subscriber, gifted it to me. They're like, I downgraded, and I don't have room for it, and I want you to have it. I was like, that is the sweetest thing ever. And but yeah, to get the 10-inch saw, to be able to cut more material, and it's like it just opened up an enormous world for me in lapidary. I am so excited. Like I said, a lot of fun projects in the works. I just went to the post office today and picked up some boxes. I'm super pumped.
It's been awesome seeing you go from not having any equipment to be able to build your own shop, and especially with Maker's Challenge, like again, you have like 1,000-time props for what you did.
Yeah, that was hard on the heart, that's for sure. It was tough. It was such a fun project too, and at that point I was like, this is the most work I put into a lapidary project, and the most time into the video. I was like, it was the best video for lapidary I've ever made. I was so excited. I hit export or render, and just the glitch zone thing, I was like, oh my gosh, my heart just sunk. And like I did 10 to 15 total exports, and it was just the same result every single time. I tried changing stuff and finally just gave up on it. And I actually figured out after I deleted everything what happened.
What happened?
So I recently started a second channel, and through that I was trying to push the limits on like how high quality can I go. And one of the times was doing like 1080 with 120 frames per second. And I went to export it, and glitch, same exact thing. And when I was looking through all the files, I watched every single file, they all played. I was checking some to see like, is it 1080? Did one get put in at 4K on accident? And I fixed all of that to 1080, but there was one clip that was 120 that I just was like, that can't be it. And I think that one ruined the whole project.
Oh wow.
Wow.
That's
Good
sad.
to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Did you keep all the
this-
Did you keep all the original footage so you can try to recoup it later?
I didn't, because at the time my laptop had like no space, and I didn't have like a backup or anything for like a storage backup or anything. I've since got a new laptop with a ton of storage on it, and it's a lot faster. So my exporting, like I said, I exported like 10-15 times. That took like 2 to 3 hours each time. And my new laptop now exports at like 20 to 30 minutes. So
Isn't that
that's
nice?
good. It's so nice. Like, what do I do at this time? This is so crazy.
So much time.
But yeah, it was hard to kind of see that. But I thought I just tried to make lemonade out of it and try to poke fun at the problems I had with it.
You
So,
did good though. That was a good recoup on your end, and it still
Appreciate
turned out
it.
really nice. And I don't know. I thought it'd be cool, really cool to figure a way to. I forgot where I was going with that. Never mind. Scratch it.
Well, actually what we haven't gotten to was this week's find.
Yes.
The
thank you.
segment,
I was gonna
the
say
new
that.
segment.
Yeah.
Let's start with Taylor.
Yeah. So it's probably my favorite find of the week. I found it with Scoopy and Scoopy Cam, and it's this big Lake Superior agate that is so beach worn. I don't even know the
Wow.
variety. So the reason it's my favorite is because I'm gonna cut this thing, and we'll see what's inside. I'm really
Nice.
hoping for bands. Really hoping for some nice bands.
Nice.
That'd be really cool. There was a bunch of bands in there.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like
Had a
heavy
few.
metal band.
You just open it up and
Well, I think it'd be considered hard rock, wouldn't it?
Yes.
absolutely.
Oh. Sorry.
Who else has a find?
I got one. It's I found it the other day, which y'all will see next Monday. But it is a it's a agate, and it has little petroidals all over it. I'm not sure what type of agate it is. I just recently came across this type in my last video from last Monday on a hike, and it has an interesting blue. It's pretty much, it's all red on the outside, and then it kind of switches from red to like a clearish blue in the center. So I'm gonna cut this up open probably next week and check out and see what it looks like, and maybe make like a short video out of it. So
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that unusual for you to find something that has that like color differentiation from, maybe iron to manganese or something like that?
Yeah, I've never found these out here before, so it's new to me. But I'm gonna post in some of the local groups and see if anyone can identify them further for me, because I have no idea. But I found a lot of them, so it's gonna be very cool.
Nice.
Possible.
What about y'all?
Karen?
Kyle?
I don't have any
Oh.
finds.
It's a Kyle and Karen off. My rock is yeah. Not a rock at all. This book is full of rocks though, and I have no affiliation, but I was just totally struck. This just came out. It's Rocks, Minerals, and Geology of the Pacific Northwest by Leslie Moklock and Jacob Sealander. And boy, I'd love to have you guys on because on the podcast here, because this is a wonderful it's from the Timber Press Field Guide press. And so I don't know if you guys all have field guides for your regions as far as like, oh, is it a zeolite? What kind of mineral are we looking at that are sort of in the weeds for a lot of people? It's not just basic quartz or not just basic stuff that you're used to seeing. And so this has both the minerals from the small identification. So if you wanted to use it as a field guide out in the field, you can, but it also has explanations all the way up through like how it got there, through the different ways, and then, like larger geology for the regions. Do you guys have that, Kurt, Taylor?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm still looking into like different books for the area.
Get to writing.
Like field, what?
To get to writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like, sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
No,
you go.
I was just gonna say, like, having a resource like that for each region would be a mind blow.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally. As far as like field guides go, there are books for like where to rock hound and stuff, but like over here on this side of the state, there's not a whole lot. Most of it is all like central Colorado, all the way over to Denver, Colorado Springs, in that area. But as far as out here, there's not a whole lot of places, and most of the time when I need help with identification, I just go onto Facebook and post in the local groups for that area. And but I'm slowly working on identification for myself to help me further. So maybe in the future I'll share that.
Nice.
Book in the works.
Yes. But if anyone is out here in this area and needs help identifying stuff, definitely shoot me a message on any platform on social media, and I'll do the best I can to help you out.
Kurt will help you. He's a nice guy. He won't bite.
And he's on all platforms.
Yes.
By the way.
Yes. I am.
So how about you?
I was gonna say there's not. I think I was gonna say, like, I'm on the main ones. I just got on to Reddit as well. So yeah. Sorry, did not mean to interrupt you at all.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh no. Yeah, that was a good point. Like, it just seems like it's awesome, Kurt. You're all over, and that's great. To having such a breadth, especially for approachability. If people do want to come and ask us some questions about the region and stuff like that, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kyle?
Oh, I don't have any fines. I haven't been out rock hounding in like, oh gosh. I think my last rock hounding trip was when I went digging for thunder eggs with Chris. I feel like that was my last actual trip outside my shop as far as like rock stuff goes. And I am very, very past due to go rock hounding on the coast and try to find concretions. So I'm past due for that.
Let's bash with sledgehammers.
Yes. Make them a little bit lighter to carry out. I'm telling you, carrying a large concretion on your shoulders for however far that is, it's not easy. But
no,
I'm getting older. Can't do that anymore.
The one that wasn't left behind for me, actually, to harken back to that question, was one that was a concretion that had a bunch of different bones in it. Like you could tell they were rib bones and probably some vertebrae and that sort of thing from some ancient sea creatures. And this thing was huge. And my dad was with us, and my brother and a few other people, and we were leaving, and he's like, "You're not leaving that behind." And we're like, "Yeah, we are. That thing is like 80 pounds of stone, Dad." And he's like, "You're not leaving that behind." So my brother and I hauled it out together. And it was just because the patron of the family was like, "Nope, you're not leaving it." And so that was the one that wasn't left behind. But that's your point, Kyle. It's like a sledgehammer would have made that job a little bit easier.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, there's I think one of the first ones I hauled out, it was not light, and I'm packing on my shoulders. I have pictures. I'll post it. And I'm telling you, walking with a heavy rock on your shoulders in sand, you think I would learn my lesson. But yeah, Ma'am Lambo does it like it's nothing. I'm telling you. I'm sure if anyone were to arm wrestle Ma'am Lambo, they would lose.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Hands down. Or even
Yeah.
tug of war for that matter. Like I'm sure like anyone would just lose against him because I'm sure like his calves and arms are just like strong.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I am hoping to actually get out some rock hounding some more so I can actually be in the finds of the week because that's actually
Though, I was just gonna say, Kyle, you were just in your backyard showing off this huge
Massive.
pile of rocks, though, right?
So there is a story behind that. I'll keep it short, so I'm not taking up too much time. I bought that was an estate sale. I bought 2 estate sales. That was the first one I bought, and the hardest part was actually finding all the 5-gallon buckets to load this all in because none of it was in buckets, and it took over 200 5-gallon buckets.
Wow.
And there was a lot of rocks that wouldn't even fit in there, and there was a lot of equipment in there, and so all the stuff was out in storage for probably about a year or so, and it was stacked floor to ceiling in a like 8x9 room. There was about this much walkway from the door to the other side for the light, and that was it. And of course, unpacking it, bringing it back home, sort it all into that pile. But the gentleman I bought that from, he had bought that from another gentleman here from the Northwest, and a lot of it's Northwest material. And he wanted to get rid of it for a couple reasons. The first reason being that he was going to be moving. But the second reason was after he bought it, it ruined rock hounding for him. Because he already had all this material. He didn't necessarily have to go out and look for rocks because there's a bunch of it. And even when I go rock hounding now, like it didn't ruin it for me. Like I still like to get rocks and bring them back, obviously. But it gives me more of a relaxing feeling, and it's not really so much of a care if I go out and I don't find anything. Because if I don't find anything, not a big deal. I'm out enjoying nature. I'm resetting, and if I don't find any rocks, not a big deal. If I find trash, I'll bring it back, and I'll still feel good that I'm doing something productive. But if I do find something and I throw it in that pile, I can almost bet you that if someone were to pick something up, I can look at a rock and be like, I found that one. Out of that whole pile of rocks, I can almost guarantee I can pick out something that I picked up myself. But yeah, I sorted the entire pile by hand, every single bucket, and because my original plan was to have everything all organized by color, variety, and about 30 bucket, probably not even 30 buckets in, I'm like, no, this is not going to fly. I need to speed this process up a lot faster because yeah, it's a pile of rock.
You posted a picture with you sitting on top and you're diminished, and that's those of you who are just listening, that's what I thought was like the find of the week for you, man, is that like, that's an incredible assortment and collection. So you definitely, you can rock hound in your own pile, eh?
Yeah. So the thing is, I actually have a subscriber that has bought some stuff from me. And I'll every now and then I'll send her a picture or send her a video of the pile, and so she'll pick out stuff and she'll buy stuff, and so she has me a list not that long ago that I need to go through and I pick out what she had written down, and I think after I get done with that list, I have to move the rocks back because our fence is rotting and falling down, which is going to require whoever's putting the fence up to have access to those where they need to put the poles in.
Yeah, say it isn't so that something rots and falls down in Oregon where it's always wet.
Right. Well, we had that big wind, a few big windstorms, and
yes,
I figured
we did. It was hellacious.
Yeah, and I thought that our fence was fine. Like our fence made it, no big deal. Well, I was out there and I realized that our box hedge is actually holding up the fence. I'm like, well, that's great. And me being me, like whoever we get to come out and fix the fence, like I want to make sure I have all the rocks kind of out of the way so it's not in their way. But at the same time, I want to make sure my cameras are on so I can make sure that no one picks anything off the pile. It's just, I mean, yeah, if someone takes a rock, it's only one rock, but I'm very picky, and I don't want someone touching my.
And you know which ones you found.
Yeah, I'll be always like, hey, what are you doing?
Oh, that's great.
Well, any other questions you want to ask, or even Taylor? Do you have any questions at all?
No questions. Just really thankful that you guys are doing this for the community, and obviously very thankful you asked me to be on. It's a big honor.
No, absolutely. I think it's more
Thank you
honor
so
for
much.
us.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I got the message for you. I was like, "Ooh, me?" Like it was really exciting. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, again, if we didn't have everyone saying yes to be on here, we probably wouldn't keep growing and keep doing it. I mean, this has actually been such a fun thing that we started, and I think we're all pretty happy that we did it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And a total surprise at, the landslide reception. And again, thank you so much to everybody that, is tuning in and checking us out. And again, like one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys is where are you tuning in from? If you wouldn't mind leaving that in the comments. It was really fun to read the comments from last week from everyone that Jesse had kind of shouted out and sent over, oh, I'm over here in Australia or wherever. And so leave it in the comments where you're from, because that'll be a kick for us to know where you're tuning in from.
I like that. That's fresh. I like that.
Thanks. So are we on to the tips? Are we?
Words of encouragement.
Tips and words of the encouragement feature. Like if you don't mind me blasting off first, I was down on. Go ahead, Kurt. Yeah.
No, I said do it.
I'm on it. Okay, great. Like I said, our season went long here on the beach. The sands didn't cover over quite as quickly as usual. And so I was down getting some incredible last scores off of the beach. And both times that I went down, there were people that were picking at the cliff. And I just want to, yeah, it's illegal. And so for one thing, common sense is always super cool to use when you're rock hounding. And so if it seems like a bad idea, don't do it. But like for personal safety, picking at the cliffs is bad because they're coming down all the time. They're at a 15 degree angle at, on average around my neighborhood cliffs here because of the uplift. And so they're coming at you already. Plus it's legal because all of the development that's right behind those cliffs, like the houses and stuff like that, they already get a foot a year of erosion without folks like also digging in there. And so they'll come down quick enough and they'll release their little prizes of all of the fun fossils and agates and stuff like that. Wait for that though. And so my tip of the week is to be aware of the local laws about the things that you're doing, and don't be that guy, tread lightly. So next.
Taylor, do you want to take it off?
Yeah, I can. So tip that I have for people going out rock hunting and stuff, a lot of the places that you can find helpful advices online, and sometimes you get a lot of people steering you in certain directions. And I recently had a couple examples of people saying like, you're not going to find anything at a beach with a parking lot, and if you go to like a creek or a river, you got to go way upstream. And I always challenge myself to go to those places, and it's like, I bet you I will find stuff. And I recently went to a river and I was like, I'm going to go way upstream. And then I tell myself, you know what, why don't you go downstream? So I went downstream and challenged myself to try to find some, like really anything. I know like in our area, I'm always trying to find Lake Superior agates, but I just challenged myself to go downstream. And I found a bunch of really cool stuff. And I was like, just maybe it's just because people aren't looking there anymore. So
That's a good one. Yeah.
Mine will. It's kind of. I guess I'll make it. Kind of goes towards what you were talking about, Taylor. If you're new to rock hounding, not sure where to go, anywhere where there's rocks on the ground, you can find some really cool pieces, but always make sure that you are on public land, not private property, and also not in national parks or national monuments. Kind of like what Taylor was saying is when like someone says you can't find something somewhere, like I do the same thing. I challenge myself to see if I can find something. Example, I was out in Ouray a few years ago, and I was in the middle of a parking lot for I think the large spring like hot springs, the pool area down there, and I was just sitting at my car looking down at the ground in the parking lot, and I found some malachite pieces, which was kind of cool to find in a random parking lot. And so it just kind of proves anywhere you are, you can find cool rocks on the ground. Just got to keep your eyes open and look for cool colors, weird shapes, anything that doesn't match the rest of the area you're in. Just again, make sure you are not on private land. So, and don't let people tell you that you can't find stuff like worthwhile in those areas, because if it's special to you, you are drawn to it for a reason. So yeah, stick with it.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I guess mine. Let me go back a little bit. So we had to get a new date, new person to watch River on the days that we work, and the new daycare lady had a picture on the wall that it was just a bunch of words, and I don't remember exactly how it was phrased, but I relate to it. It more or less said, if you don't challenge yourself, you're not going to change. So don't be afraid to challenge yourself if you want to change yourself for the better. And so, yeah, challenge yourself. Keeping it simple.
Nice.
Well, that was words of encouragement. Karen, do you want to take us off, or Kurt, do you want to wrap things up?
Well, there's one. If you want to do it, Karen. But I was going to say, do we want to give a tip or like a hint for who's going to be on next week?
Oh, yes.
Sure, you can do that.
Okay. So as a lot of people have asked about like who's going to be coming on in the next weeks. We were all thinking maybe we could give a tip. So for episode, is this episode 8?
Yeah.
Or 7?
Yeah.
8.
8? Yeah, we're at 8.
Okay, so
keep checking my numbers.
For episode 9, hopefully, that's correct. But episode 9, we will be bringing on Lapidary Dave, which is going to be super cool and really awesome.
Woo-hoo!
And
that's
will
awesome.
also be a lot of fun. And for everyone that, if there's someone in particular you want to see on the podcast, definitely leave it down in the comments and let us know who you would like to see.
Yeah.
So
please do.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you for remembering that. Yeah, I was just going to add, keep creating. There's a lot of beauty out there, and you can be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I guess with that, thank you, Taylor, for joining us on this podcast, and we're honored to have you here, and you're always welcome back if you ever want to come back again.
Yeah, of course. And thank you so much again. It's been super fun.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we'll have Lapidary Dave here on the podcast. And again, if you have other suggestions for other channels, for other creators you'd like to see here on the channel, it doesn't necessarily have to be dedicated rock hounding. They can be miners. They can be anything that's in the rock niche. We'd love to have them here on the channel. So let us know, and we'll see you guys next time. Rock on.